Bertha Russell has always been the woman to watch in this series. Love her or hate her, there's no denying she has mastered the art of climbing New York's social ladder. In Season 3, she walked into her glittering ball like the queen of Fifth Avenue, secured her daughter Gladys' place in society with a powerful marriage, and seemed unstoppable. But as we all know, when someone flies too high in this world, the fall comes just as quickly. And Season 4 seems designed to test Bertha like never before. The biggest problem she faces isn't society, or the Astors, or even the ever-scheming Mrs. Winterton. It's her own marriage. George Russell's simmering anger over Bertha's relentless ambition exploded in the finale, and the cracks between them can no longer be ignored. For the first time, Bertha risks losing the one person who has always stood by her side. That's what makes Season 4 so terrifying for her. We know Bertha can outmaneuver rivals, manipulate events, and even turn enemies into allies, but can she truly win back George's love when he believes she sacrificed their daughter's happiness for social power? Rumors suggest Bertha will soften her ruthless edge, trying to prove she can be a wife first and a social conqueror second. But nothing in this world comes without a price. And just as Bertha begins her mission to repair her marriage, whispers spread of a new rival entering George's life, a woman who might just tempt him away from Bertha for good. Can you imagine Bertha Russell, the queen of the ballroom, forced to fight for her husband's affection while the entire city watches? It's a humiliation she has never faced before, and it might drive her to extremes we've never seen. At the same time, George himself won't simply play the role of heartbroken husband. Let's not forget, he barely survived an assassination attempt in Season 3. The identity of his shooter still hangs over the story like a storm cloud, and George will stop at nothing to uncover the truth. But how far will he go? And who can he trust when even his closest circle might be hiding secrets? Bertha and George are standing on opposite sides of a widening divide, and Season 4 will force them to choose. Will they reunite and become stronger together, or will this be the battle that finally destroys the most powerful couple in New York? If there is one bright spot in this show's sea of betrayals, it has to be Peggy Scott. She has endured heartbreak, professional obstacles, and personal loss across 3 seasons, but in the finale, she finally received the proposal that fans had been waiting for. Dr. William Kirkland, after wrestling with his own demons, went down on one knee in front of everyone, Black Newport society, his cold and overbearing mother, and most importantly, Peggy herself, and made their love undeniable. It was one of those rare Gilded Age moments when hope felt bigger than tragedy, when love seemed to conquer all. But of course, this is the Gilded Age, and nothing ever stays simple for long. As we step into Season 4, Peggy and William's engagement is set to become one of the most contested battles of the series. Why? Because William's mother has no intention of letting this marriage happen without a war. She has already shown her disapproval of Peggy, not because of who Peggy is, but because of her own rigid ideas of family, class, and status. In her eyes, Peggy is an outsider, someone who could never be good enough for her son. And let's be honest, that kind of opposition has torn apart couples far less resilient than Peggy and William. The rumor mill is already buzzing that Mrs. Kirkland will actively try to sabotage the engagement, possibly by manipulating William or spreading whispers that could tarnish Peggy's reputation. Imagine what that means. Just as Peggy finally begins to dream of happiness, the same forces that have always tried to hold her back will return in full force. Yet, if there's one thing we know about Peggy, it's that she doesn't bow to pressure. She has always been the voice of reason, a fighter for her own independence, and someone who never let society dictate her worth. And with William standing beside her, she might finally have a partner strong enough to fight back. But here's the twist. William himself is not without flaws. His struggle between loyalty to Peggy and loyalty to his mother could fracture their bond before the wedding bells even ring. If Season 4 wants to pull at our heartstrings, this is exactly where it will strike, testing their love against the oldest drama in the world, family interference. And while this storyline might not be as flashy as Bertha's ballroom battles, it carries a different kind of weight. This is personal, it's intimate, and it's a reminder that even in the most lavish world of money and power, true love is still the hardest prize to win. The suspense comes from knowing that happiness is right there within Peggy's reach, but it could just as easily slip through her fingers. The show has teased us with glimpses of joy before, only to snatch it away. Will they dare to do it again? Or will Peggy finally secure the one thing she's always deserved? A love story free of tragedy. We'll soon find out, but one thing is clear. Season 4 isn't going to hand Peggy her happy ending on a silver platter. She'll have to fight for it, harder than ever before. Now, let's talk about Oscar Van Ryn, who continues to prove that even in a city full of schemers, he might just be his own worst enemy. At the end of Season 3, Oscar shocked everyone by making what could easily be the most reckless decision of his entire life, joining forces with Mrs. Winterton. Yes, the very same Mrs. Winterton who clawed her way from being a maid to becoming one of society's most manipulative climbers. Honestly, the idea that Oscar would even consider such a partnership feels like lighting a match in a room full of dynamite. This isn't just about appearances or business arrangements. This is about willingly tying himself to a woman who has built her entire reputation on deceit and ambition. Let's not forget, Mrs. Winterton has always had her eyes on Bertha's throne. She has spent seasons trying to humiliate her, outshine her, and take her place among New York's elite. And now, thanks to Oscar, she has a brand new opportunity to push her way into the very center of power. Rumors suggest that their alliance won't just be about society influence, but could also bleed into George Russell's crumbling marriage. Yes, you heard that right. Mrs. Winterton is being whispered about as a possible romantic rival to Bertha, which means her claws might sink into George himself. Imagine the chaos if Bertha is forced to not only rebuild her marriage, but defend it from a woman she despises. And Oscar? He'll be standing right beside Mrs. Winterton, fanning the flames. What makes this even more dangerous is that Oscar isn't exactly secure himself. His position in society has always been fragile, propped up more by his connections than by his own achievements. By tying his future to Mrs. Winterton, he risks losing everything: his standing, his influence, and maybe even the respect of his closest allies. But here's the most chilling part. Oscar doesn't see it. In his eyes, this is strategy. It's power. It's survival. And that blindness could drag not just him, but everyone around him into disaster. We've seen him make questionable choices before, but this feels different. This feels like the point of no return. And if Agnes catches wind of his plans, you can bet she won't sit quietly. She has always been one of the sharpest voices in the series, and I, for one, can't wait to see her face off against Mrs. Winterton in Season 4. But until then, all we can do is watch Oscar march toward the cliff, holding Mrs. Winterton's hand, while the rest of New York prepares for the fallout. While scandals and betrayals rage across the city, there is one storyline in Season 4 that promises to bring both stability and emotional weight: the evolving relationship between Marion and Larry Russell. For 3 seasons, their story has been a slow burn filled with hesitation, heartbreak, and misunderstandings. But by the end of Season 3, the tide finally turned. The two of them reconciled, putting aside their differences and embracing the love that has been quietly building since the very beginning. And now, heading into Season 4, Marion and Larry are positioned as the one couple who might actually give us something rare in this series: hope. Their wedding is rumored to be the centerpiece of the upcoming season, but don't expect a rushed affair or a simple happily ever after. In true Gilded Age fashion, the show will stretch this event into a season-long journey, full of drama, setbacks, and high-stakes choices that will affect not only the couple, but the entire Russell family. And the whispers say the wedding won't actually take place until the finale, which means we'll spend the entire season watching the preparations unfold. And in this world, wedding preparations are never just about flowers and gowns. They are about politics, reputation, and power. For Bertha, this wedding is more than a family celebration. It is an opportunity to strengthen her ties with Marion, to prove she can support her rather than dominate her, and to use their bond as a bridge to keep Larry close. We already know Bertha sees Larry as the true heir to George's empire, and her alignment with Marion will only make her grip on the family stronger. But here's where the suspense deepens. Marion, unlike Bertha, has always been resistant to the toxic games of New York society. She values honesty, independence, and love over wealth and status. Can Bertha truly respect those values, or will she eventually try to bend Marion into another pawn in her social battles? If Bertha oversteps, the fragile peace between them could shatter, and that would put Larry in an impossible position, forced to choose between the woman he loves and the mother who built his world. At the same time, Larry himself is no stranger to challenges. His career as an architect has already shown us his desire to build his own identity, separate from George's empire. But marriage to Marion ties him even more closely to the Russell dynasty. Will Larry be able to balance his ambitions with the weight of family duty, or will he end up sacrificing his dreams in the process? And let's not forget, in the Gilded Age, no wedding is safe from interference. Jealous rivals, bitter enemies, and even family members with hidden agendas could turn this joyful occasion into a battlefield. Imagine Mrs. Winterton, still hungry for power, attempting to overshadow the ceremony. Or Agnes, ever the protector of tradition, questioning whether Marion is making the right choice. Every smile at that wedding could be hiding a dagger, and every toast could carry a hidden threat. That's what makes this storyline so thrilling. It's not just a love story, it's a test of loyalty, of values, and of whether true happiness can survive in a world built on appearances. For viewers, it will be a chance to breathe in moments of romance and warmth while always knowing the storm clouds are never far behind. And if the rumors are true, the finale's wedding will not just be a celebration, but a turning point, a moment that could redefine alliances, reshape families, and either secure Marion and Larry as the heart of the show or tear them apart before they can even say their vows. In a series where nothing is guaranteed, the promise of love is both the sweetest gift and the most fragile illusion. Season 4 will show us whether Marion and Larry can finally beat the odds, or if they too will become victims of a world that devours love as quickly as it creates it. When a show like The Gilded Age ends a season, the question every fan asks is the same. Will it return? And if so, when? Thankfully, this time the answer came before we even reached the finale. HBO confirmed Season 4's renewal right after Episode 6 of Season 3 aired, which tells you everything you need to know about the confidence the network has in this series. That kind of early announcement is rare in television today, especially in an era where shows are constantly being canceled mid-story. But The Gilded Age isn't just any show. It's a phenomenon, a glittering window into 1880s New York that keeps pulling audiences deeper with each passing episode. The numbers speak for themselves. HBO revealed that the premiere night ratings for Season 3 grew week after week, with viewership climbing more than 20% compared to Season 2. That's not just growth, that's a cultural surge. For 2 consecutive weeks, the series hit its highest ratings yet, proving that more and more people are falling under its spell. So, when Francesca Orsi, HBO's head of drama programming, called the show can't miss entertainment and praised Julian Fellowes and the entire cast, it wasn't just publicity fluff, it was a clear sign that HBO knows it has struck gold. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Every episode of Season 3 felt like stepping into a time machine, into a world where every glance, every whispered rumor, and every social event carried the weight of destiny. By the finale, we weren't just watching a period drama anymore. We were fully invested in a sprawling battlefield of love, power, and betrayal. And now, as we turn our eyes towards Season 4, the real thrill begins. The first look details that have begun to trickle out. While HBO is keeping its cards close to its chest, insiders hint at several storylines already being mapped out. We know Bertha's fight to save her marriage will be central, we know George's hunt for his mysterious shooter will continue, and we know that Marion and Larry's wedding preparations will shape much of the season's backdrop. But the whispers also suggest more. For example, the rumors of a new female character entering George's life, someone who could tempt him away from Bertha, have already ignited debates across fan circles. Could this character be a member of Old Money sent to test George's loyalty? Or could she be tied to the dark forces behind his assassination attempt, weaving romance and revenge into a single devastating twist? The idea alone is enough to make Season 4 feel like the most unpredictable chapter yet. Then there's Peggy and Dr. Kirkland. From what little has surfaced, their engagement storyline will not be smooth sailing. If anything, it may become one of the most emotionally charged arcs of the season. William's mother, who already cast a long shadow in the finale, will likely play an even larger role in the episodes to come. And let's be honest, in a show like this, a controlling parent is never just a side character. She's an obstacle, a manipulator, a potential saboteur. The question is not whether she will interfere, but how far she's willing to go. And considering the stakes, the reputation of the Kirklands, Peggy's future, and the fragile balance of love and independence she's fought so hard to protect, this storyline could easily explode into something bigger than anyone expects. Oscar's alliance with Mrs. Winterton also looms over the horizon like a thundercloud. At first glance, it looks like a desperate play for relevance, but Season 4 might reveal a much darker twist. What if Oscar is being played? What if Mrs. Winterton is using him as a pawn in her larger war against Bertha, only to discard him when his usefulness runs out? We know she's ruthless. We know she has no loyalty beyond herself, and we know she craves power more than anything else. That makes her dangerous. And Oscar, blinded by ambition and insecurity, might not see the knife until it's already in his back. It's the kind of tension that could stretch across the entire season, and if the rumors are true that Mrs. Winterton may also set her sights on George, then Oscar's downfall will be more than personal. It could trigger a domino effect that destabilizes the entire Russell empire. And yet, amidst all of this chaos, the promise of Marion and Larry's wedding offers a thread of hope. Fans are already calling it the wedding of the century. And if Season 4 delivers on that promise, it could become one of the defining moments of the entire series. But let's not kid ourselves. This is the Gilded Age. That wedding won't be a fairy tale. It will be a battlefield dressed in lace and champagne, where every guest carries an agenda and every smile hides a secret. The finale is rumored to hold this grand event, and if that's true, then all season long we'll be building toward a climax